So an election just happened in the UK, and if you're watching this video, then chances are you thought the results were a teeny weeny bit unfair. I propose a solution, proportional past the post, that keeps your local MP, increases competition among parties, and reflects the votes of the nation to a very high degree of accuracy. This video isn't going to simulate my idea in real time. I did that in the last video. Instead, this is a summary of what kind of parliament PPP produces and how well it does its job. In case the timestamps don't automatically come up, here they are, hopefully, and we'll start by going over the result under first past the post. To 2 decimal places, here is the number of seats each party is entitled to if their tally accurately matched the national vote share. With the current system we have now, Labour got 411, Conservatives got 121, Reform got 5, Liberal Democrats got 72, the Green Party of England and Wales got 4, the SNP got 9, the Independents and minor parties got 6, Sinn Féin got 7, the Workers' Party of Great Britain got none, Plaid Cymru got 4, the DUP got 5, the APNI got 1, the Ulster Unionist Party got 1, the Scottish Greens got 0, SDLP got 2, TUV got 1, the Independent Network got 0, and the Speaker got 1. The DV score, which measures proportionality and ideally should be 4 or lower, was 30.12. Before I give the result for PPP, I need to state 3 caveats. The model assumes that people will vote the same under PPP as first past the post, which isn't necessarily true. As you can't split your ticket under first past the post like you can PPP, we're assuming voters vote for the same party as the candidate, which again may not be true, and not as many small parties will stand under first past the post as PPP. With that context out the way, here is the result. 220 for Labour, 155 for the Conservatives, 93 for Reform, 80 for the Lib Dems, 34 for the Greens, 17 for SNP, 21 for the Independents and minor parties, 5 for Sinn Féin, 4 for the Workers' Party, 5 for Plaid Cymru, 4 to the DUP, 3 for the Alliance Party of Northern Ireland, 1 for the Ulster Unionist Party, 2 for the Scottish Greens, 2 for the SDLP, 2 for TUV, 1 for the Independent Network, and 1 for the Speaker. DV score 1.47. In my opinion, a slight improvement. Let's start with Labour. 33.7% of the vote entitled them to 219.05 seats, which, when rounded up to the nearest integer to avoid seat shortages, gave them a quota of 220 MPs. All of the MPs that won with PPP were also Plurality winners, with 69 of Labour's gains under first past the post also being gains under proportional past the post. The majority of seats won by Labour were in cities and large towns, with the last seat being Thurrock, with 42.73% of the vote. 24.7% of the vote gave the Conservatives a quota of 155. With the exception of these constituencies, every seat won under first past the post is also won under proportional past the post. As well as this, there are 43 second places which they regain, in this case all from Labour, and their geographical distribution of seats is mostly in the rural Midlands and the South East. Now, you may be asking why the Conservatives deserve to lose 9 of their plurality wins in favour of second place elsewhere, and the answer lies with the key phrase "in context." Not all first places are better than all second places. And to illustrate my point, I'll choose 2 seats to compare: Basildon and Billericay and Chelsea and Fulham. Basildon and Billericay was one of many 3-way marginals in this election, with Richard Holden winning the seat with just 20 votes, the second smallest majority in the country. For both Labour and Conservative, vote shares of 30.6% were not strong enough to meet their respective quotas, but a 27% for Reform was a very good performance in context of this being their 24th best seat in the country. Likewise, 39.38% for Labour in Chelsea and Fulham was okay, but a 39.06% for the Conservatives was their 27th best seat in the country. In neither case does PPP use the plurality winner, but it does give you the best performing candidates in the context of the national parties they represent. You're not competing with 5 people, but, and I'm going to need a few more fingers for this, 605 people. And this will encourage competition within parties and better representatives. Reform got 14.29% of the vote, which gives them 93 seats. They keep the 5 seats won under first past the post, but they also gain a further 88, mostly from Labour, with 4 exceptions being Basildon and Billericay, Bridgewater, Havant and Isle of Wight East. Most of their third places were in close 3-way marginals like Dudley or Cannock Chase, with their seat distribution mostly falling in Wales, the South West, the East of England, Lancashire and Central Yorkshire. The 80-seat quota of the Liberal Democrats comes from 12.22% of the vote. They retain all 72 of their plurality wins, but also gain Burnley, Exmouth and Exeter East, Aylesbury, Spelthorne, Cardiff East, Watford, South Dorset and Colchester. And had they come first in Godalming and Ash, they likely would have gained this seat as well instead of Colchester, as this was the highest Lib Dem vote share that didn't translate into a seat. The Green Party of England and Wales got 6.4% of the vote, which is 42 seats, but only 34 of which ended up being filled. First Past the Post does a very good job of squeezing the Greens, and because most of the seats they performed well in were also strong showings by the parties that beat them, I appreciate the seats they do end up winning may seem a bit random. Bearing in mind the caveats I said at the start of the video regarding voting behaviour, I believe if we re-ran the election under proportional past the post, the Greens tally would be a couple dozen higher and they'd have a lot more second and third places, in a similar fashion to what happened with reform. That being said, I accept that when first past the post voting behaviour is assumed, the seat level performance of the Greens could potentially be a flaw in the model. The Green MPs elected under Triple P represent rural areas of East Anglia, as well as Bristol, Somerset and inner cities. There are 18 seats in Northern Ireland, and Triple P allocated 5 to Sinn Féin, 5 to the DUP, although only 4 were filled, 3 to the APNI, 3 to the Ulster Unionists, although only 1 got allocated, 2 each to the SDP and TUV, and North Down would go to the independent Alex Easton. The SNP's 2.52% of the national vote gives them 17 seats, made up of the 9 plurality winners, as well as 8 additional second places, all regained from Labour. Most of their urban seats would remain lost, but they'd retain the rural areas of northern Scotland, as well as Dumfries and Galloway on the border. And on the topic of Galloway, 0.73% of the vote gave the Workers' Party of Great Britain a quota of 5 seats, but only 4 of these would end up being filled. Jodie McIntyre would gain Birmingham Yardley, George Galloway would retain Rochdale, James Giles would win in Birmingham Hodge Hill and Solihull North, and Steve Baker would lose Wickham to Khalil Ahmed. Plaid Cymru's 0.68% of the vote also awards them a quota of 5 seats. They keep all 4 of their plurality wins, but also gain, and I'm sorry if I butcher the pronunciation, Bangor Aberconwy, which was their 6th best result. And again, I'm sorry in advance, Llanelli was a slightly better performance in terms of vote share, but as they came third to reform, the latter took priority, and as their quota was not yet filled, they won the seat instead. Geographically, it's the same as before, but with a slightly longer coastline thanks to the addition of the seat to the north. 0.32% just about entitled the Scottish Greens to 3 seats, but only 2 ended up being filled. Edinburgh South West and Ayr, Carrick and Cumnock, just north of Hadrian's Wall. As the seat allocation formula always rounds up to the nearest integer, each party is always entitled to at least 1 seat, and that includes the independent network. Azar Cohen's strong second place in Slough wins him the seat off of Labour, and this leaves 22 remaining seats to be filled by independents. If you win your seat as an independent under first past the post, you're guaranteed to win it under Triple P, because you're the only person in your party to fill the quota should you be selected. As well as the 6 independents that have already won pluralities, 16 other independents win seats mostly off of Labour, with the exception of Claudia Webb winning Leicester East off of the Conservatives. Most of the independents were running on a pro-Palestine ticket and won their seats in urban areas of London, Birmingham, Manchester and both halves of Luton. In total, 94% of constituencies got an MP within the top 3 candidates, which is down from 95.4% in 2019. The main statistical shift seen between the 2 elections was a sharp decline in the number of plurality winners, and this can be explained by the greater disparity between the vote share and number of seats of the winning party. With Triple P in a real election, constituency level results would be a lot closer together. The big 2 parties would also lose some of their vote share to smaller ones. This would mean a greater concentration of seats among the top 3 places, with an even spread of results in terms of constituency ranking. Thank you very much for listening, and any questions are welcome via email or through the comments below. Bye for now.